Karrian Kross challenges Bray Wyatt, the best and worst of WWE Raw. Vince McMahon's scandal getting worse. Latest update, Trish Stratus attacks Bayley. Sasha Banks sends a message to the Avengers actor, Mark Ruffalo. Let's jump right into our first story. The best and worst of WWE Raw. Welcome to this week's edition of Best and Worst of Raw. It wasn't a perfect episode, but it was an impressive one that had a good flow. Since we're not adding it to this list due to the short runtime it had, we will give a special mention to Dexter Lumis's appearance and how WWE is doing a good job in building intrigue for the storyline. So what were the ups and downs of Raw this week? As we said, it wasn't a perfect show, but there was a lot of storyline progression. Here are the best and worst from the Red brand. Number 3. Best. The entire Kevin Owens vs. Drew McIntyre match and segment on Raw. The entire Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre segment and match on Raw was great, with McIntyre addressing rumors of his back injury to Kevin Owens, declaring himself next in line for the undisputed Universal title. Both men were on top of their game this week. McIntyre and Owens had the match of the night, although it ended in a less than definitive finish as the Usos caused a disqualification. However, one thing is clear under Triple H's regime: Kevin Owens will get a world title push going forward, even if it is just as a challenger. Number 2. Worst. The Rey Mysterio beatdown set up a predictable outcome for next week, with Rey Mysterio getting an advantage by beating down the Judgment Day himself. We were all waiting for the moment when he would get beaten up. It was Rhea Ripley who stalled his momentum, allowing Finn Balor and Damian Priest to recover and beat him down. It was a predictable outcome, and what is even more predictable is the possibility of Edge defeating Damian Priest next week in Toronto. WWE essentially spoiled the result with this segment. Number 2. Best. Riddle's return to Raw. Riddle announced during his exclusive interview that he has been medically cleared to return. While Seth Rollins stated that he was like in his mom's basement, Riddle revealed that he was in Washington, D.C. for Raw. As the camera zoomed out, it was revealed to be a backdrop that was set up for him, and the King of Bros came out and got the better of Rollins before chasing him through the crowd. It was a great moment that made Riddle look good, and there has instantly been a renewed interest in this rivalry. Number 1. Worst. Wrong choice for the main event. While Theory vs. Dolph Ziggler was a good match, we don't believe that it should have been the main event of Raw. We will acknowledge that there has likely been another potential reason for the two being on the last slot, but it didn't feel like a main event. Theory defeated Ziggler and they had a good and small build-up to their match, with Theory taking a shot at the veteran's career. The outcome was right, the match was good, but it simply wasn't slotted into the right spot. Number 1. Best. Another great US title defense by the almighty Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley vs. AJ Styles should undoubtedly have been the main event of Raw this week. It was a first-time ever match between two veterans of the business, and there was a lot of hype around it, with WWE brilliantly adding small video packages to build anticipation. And the match certainly delivered. It was a bit long and it played out exactly as it should have, with Bobby Lashley retaining the US title. It was another successful defense for the Almighty, who seems to be improving every week. Vince McMahon's scandal getting worse. Latest update. Vince McMahon is under investigation for the hush money scandal. WWE has now released an update on why it was unable to do a better job of keeping a tab on situations earlier. Vince McMahon's hush money scandal was initially reported to be a $3 million settlement for sexual misconduct against a woman, but was later revealed to be a $12 million settlement for 4 women. Soon, Vince stepped down from the company as CEO and chairman. WWE released a statement regarding the scandal during its quarterly report to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. In the report, it stated that it did not have an effective control environment, risk assessment, or monitoring under the previous management. This was the reason the company was unaware of the payments made by Vince McMahon. We did not maintain effective risk assessment based on the criteria established in the COSO framework, which resulted in deficiencies in principles associated with risk assessment. Specifically, these control deficiencies constitute material weaknesses, either individually or in the aggregate, relating to identifying and analyzing risks to the achievement of objectives across the entity. WWE's quarterly report to the SEC. Ever since Triple H took over creative control of WWE's main roster, things have been more exciting. During the media scrum before SummerSlam, Triple H talked about how it would take everyone to successfully continue Vince McMahon's legacy. The only way we're going to is with a team. That's with Steph, that's with Nick Khan, with Kevin Dunn, with everybody that is here. That is, with all this talent, we have the greatest, hardest working talent in the world, and I have no doubt, with this team, that we can do it. It's just a lot of hard work, and we're all going to grind. Because we have the greatest fans in the world, and we're going to make sure they get everything they want out of this product, and then some. It has only been a couple of weeks since Triple H took control, and he has already made a huge impact. The US and Intercontinental titles have been given more importance. Previously released superstars such as Dakota Kai, Karrian Kross, and Dexter Lumis have returned to the company. Are you enjoying this post-Vince McMahon era of WWE? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Trish Stratus attacks Bayley. WWE legend Trish Stratus has retaliated against the recent jibes directed at her by Bayley. The incident occurred after the Stratus faction specialist had announced her in-ring return. She declared her participation in the WWE Live event in Ontario, Canada. Bayley, known for instigating other superstars on social media, couldn't resist the opportunity to mock the legend. In her tweet, she attacked the Hall of Famer, replacing Stratus with herself. As she wrote, "This should say Bayley to return to live events this weekend." However, it seems like the plan backfired on the role model. "OMG guys, and it's Bayley, WWE is returning to live events in Canada," said no one. "Regardless, I'm sure Toronto will have a beautiful welcome in store for you," tweeted Trish Stratus. Both superstars have been fueling the heat between each other on social media. Trish Stratus has also seemingly proposed a fight with Bayley to beat some respect into her. Their constant back and forth jabs on Twitter could bring this showdown to fruition. Now that the Diva of the Decade is potentially set to appear in her hometown, let's take a trip down memory lane. Trish fought Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam 2019 in one of the most spectacular matches of the event's history. The match was chaotic, with both superstars using each other's moves. Ultimately, Charlotte used the figure-8 leg lock to make the legend tap out. Fans symbolically witnessed a passing of the torch moment between Trish Stratus and Charlotte Flair. It was believed that Trish Stratus will never compete in the ring again. However, recent announcements and the heat with Bayley suggest that we've not seen the end of the 7-time WWE Women's Champion. Would you like to see Bayley versus Stratus? Let us know in the comments section below. Sasha Banks sends a message to the Avengers actor. Sasha Banks tweeted at Hollywood star Mark Ruffalo after attending the recent She-Hulk premiere with Naomi. Sasha Banks has seemingly been having the time of her life ever since she walked out of WWE Raw in May along with Naomi. She has made several public appearances since her walkout. If the latest rumors are true, she could make her big WWE return very soon. Banks recently attended the She-Hulk premiere with her best friend Naomi. The duo posed for a bunch of pictures, and it didn't take long for the stills to go viral on wrestling Twitter. Soon after, the boss shared a tweet hyping up her She-Hulk premiere appearance. She also sent a hi to Mark Ruffalo, the actor who played the character of the Hulk in Marvel's The Avengers. Check out Banks' tweet, "Pull up in the monster." "Hi at Mark Ruffalo," she wrote. Mark Ruffalo amazed fans across the world with his role as the Hulk in several Marvel movies. Banks would love to receive a response from the veteran actor to her tweet. WWE isn't the only popular media franchise that Banks has worked for. She's also worked in the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian, portraying the character of Koska Reeves. Banks' stint in The Mandalorian was a brief one, and she is credited as Mercedes Varnado for 2 episodes. Here's what the former Raw Women's Champion had to say about her stint in The Mandalorian. "It's a huge deal. I still cannot get over it. It still does not feel real to me. The more interviews I do, the more I feel like, oh my god, holy, I'm telling you right now, it still does not feel real to me. It's frickin' Star Wars. One of the biggest franchises in the whole world. One of the biggest universes you can ever be a part of." As for her wrestling future, it seems highly likely that the WWE Universe will get to see the boss back on TV once again, now that Triple H holds major creative power. Banks is bound to receive a massive pop if she ends up returning to WWE. Karrian Kross challenges Bray Wyatt. Former NXT champion Karrian Kross recently teased a potential match against Bray Wyatt. Wyatt was one of many superstars who fell victim to the annual budget cuts and was released from the promotion in July of last year. However, recent reports have suggested that the Eater of Worlds could be on his way back to the company now that Triple H is head of creative. Pro wrestling enthusiast Joel Gertner tweeted out that his dream match in WWE is between Karrian Kross and Wyatt. One of these days, maybe at #WWE #WrestleMania, that real Killer Kross is gonna fight at Wyndham 6. Once that happens, maybe I don't need to watch #wrestling anymore. I mean, where do you go from there? #WWE Raw, Joel Gertner tweeted. The tweet certainly caught the eye of the former NXT champion. He replied to the tweet with a video. It gave the impression that Kross is also interested in the match and that Bray Wyatt has already entered Kross House. And in this case, it's WWE. The former Universal Champion has been a hot topic among fans ever since his departure from the company. Speculation has been rife on where Wyatt will continue his in-ring journey. Karrian Kross, on the other hand, was one of the most dominant NXT champions of all time. So when Kross teased the possibility of both these dominant forces clashing, the fans were intrigued. Fans certainly want this match to happen, and some are urging Kross to ring Bray Wyatt right away. One fan believes this would be a perfect match for the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. Karrian Kross fans have already determined the result of the match. Kross recently made his return to the company alongside Scarlett Bordeaux. The former NXT champion has set his sights on Roman Reigns and the undisputed WWE Universal title. Do you want to see Karrian Kross face off against Bray Wyatt? Let us know in the comments section below.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them.